despite the fact that I spent countless hours watching it growing up. Despite dabbling in a video game or two about it, despite owning a single shirt based on it, one could make the assumption that I am indeed a wrestling fan. However, I don't think I have the confidence nor qualifications to be a wrestling fan. I mean, hell, I honestly can't remember the last time I went out of my way to turn on the TV to watch the latest episode of AEW or the latest edition of Monday Night Raw. If you were to ask me who my favorite wrestler is, it would probably be someone that's already wildly successful or someone you haven't heard of in several years. So forgive me when I say, I don't think that I'm really all that qualified to talk about the world of wrestling in depth, despite having the utmost passion about it. The way I see it, I'm what you would call a casual fan. Now that I've done a sufficient job outing and establishing my own posery, I'm completely and 100% immune from any criticism about the names of certain wrestling moves and getting them wrong. In my Shakedown Hawaii video, I talked about a game that meant a lot to me from almost 4 years ago. And today I'm going to discuss a game that meant a lot for me from over a decade ago. Times change. Perspectives change. I know I've certainly changed a bit since the exactly 7-month-long hiatus I took after uploading my last video. So let's not waste any more time and see if my opinions on WWE Smackdown vs. Raw 2010 on the Nintendo DS have changed. And to do that, there's no better place to look to than the past. Published by THQ and developed by what seems to be both Tosei and Yuke's, the Nintendo DS port of WWE SVR 2010 came out in October of 2009, along with all the other 7th gen versions. Now you may be asking yourself, what's with the thumbnail? Look, we're getting there. I got this game in 2013 when I was in my first year of middle school, and I traded a shady looking kid my crappy iPod earbuds for the DS game. If you ask me, it was probably one of the best deals I've ever done. As you could probably guess, I have a lot of nostalgia for this game, or more so, the period of life where I was at when I played this game. But could you really blame me for getting nostalgic over how things were 9 years ago? So on to the gameplay. How is the gameplay? Well, I'll give a general rundown first before diving into the negatives and positives. At its core, WWE SVR 2010 was in many ways a very basic wrestling game even for its time. Most of the rings and stages are the same with mainly aesthetic variations, and the crowds are just yeah. This may be an unpopular opinion, but out of all the wrestling games I've ever played, this is one of the most easy to understand in terms of control. You move around with the D-pad. B is grab, X is dash, and Y is your neutral attack. Here's my advice. If you want to cheese most matches, just run away, then use your dash attack. And then just repeat that process in any variation you want, and eventually, you will win. So controls aside, you have a set list of combos you could pull off depending on your wrestler's attributes. For example, there's certain moves that you could pull off if your strength stat is maxed out, so on and so forth. But in retrospect, the gameplay is a bit janky by today's standards. Like, I can't tell you how many times I go in for a grab only for my arms to phase through my opponent, or my opponent will do this weird ass counter move where he pushes me away, and in all my years playing this game, I still don't know how to pull off that anti-grab move. So I mentioned attributes earlier, and you're probably confused. Well, that's where the character creation comes in, and where I feel the game really shines. The only limitation I found is that you can only make male-looking wrestlers, but beyond that, you can make some pretty wacky-looking characters. The one in my last video captures before editing this video, I made this one character as an example of how wacky you can get. Along with surface level cosmetic changes, you can also edit your character's moveset to best suit your playstyle. Though you could go through the entire game using the default moves for the most part to get by. Trust me, I did that when I was 12. There's only 3 save slots for custom characters, unfortunately, but what you could do with them is use them in the story mode. Basically where I'm pretty sure 60% of this game's budget went to. Oh boy, it's that part of the video, isn't it? The part where I review and analyze every fine aspect in detail about this game's 12-chapter campaign. What? Excuse me? What do you mean I've been slacking off for almost 7 months and have 4 days left before uploading this video? Okay, so I'm not going to be able to cover the full story mode to its full extent, unfortunately. So instead I'm going to be doing a general overview of how the story mode plays and my thoughts on it. After all, the entire point of this video is to sell you on at the very least trying this hidden gem of a game out. So the story mode kicks off with an encounter with Triple H. How the encounter ends depends on the dialogue choices you make, or don't make. You see, I like this part of the game. This is how you get first introduced to the concept of having multiple choices throughout your story. The game never overtly tells you or beats you over the head with this concept. It's just nonchalantly given to you, the choice to choose your wrestler's personality to some extent. I am, however, well aware that the vapid, clunky gameplay and the shallow dialogue options may be scoffed at by today's standards, but back when I was like 11, 12 years old, this was the first time I've ever gotten introduced to a game where your choices mattered in the story to some extent or another, and that was kind of a big deal to me. Anyway, with all that out of the way, you're probably wondering why I made Pink Guy as a wrestler for my story mode playthrough. And well, my sense of humor hasn't changed much from when I was 12. So, hey, so this video is certainly something, huh? I wasn't exactly, planning on, the making of this video to take so long. But to be honest, out of the 5 of the 7 months I've been working on this video, 5 of those months were literally spent trying to figure out what game to make a video on. And then the other 2 to 3 months, the last 2 to 3 months was literally me trying to spitball a script for the video while struggling with my procrastination problems and whatever. Because I have a lot of issues with procrastination, and that's honestly probably the biggest reason why I wasn't able to get this video out, in a very timely manner, Oh, one more thing, before I end the video. I got a Discord server. I don't know if anyone cares to join it, but if you do, then by all means, it's in the description. Lastly, there was a lot more I wanted to put into this video. There was, actually I had a full, over 50-minute long playthrough planned, for this video, and I didn't really get to do that, because, it's kind of my fuck up, so it's, whatever, I guess. I don't know. What do YouTubers usually say at the end of their videos? Something like, something like and subscribe. Yeah, so, poggers.
Sundree.